Welcome everyone to this new episode of Coming Home, live after semester at sea. My name is Viviana Premazzi. I was Intercultural Communication Specialist on Voyage 134. Together with me, there is DeCaro, ASL Interpreter, also for Voyage 134. And today we have a very special guest from our faculty. We say faculty staff plus faculty on the ship. Our dear own Kate Transchel. Welcome and thank you for being one of our guests.
Thank you.
Good. I'm very happy to start this conversation because we have seen this also with other professors or staff, but even with the students. Then on the ship you can play a role officially, but then there is also many other roles that you can play, or actually then the students. And I'm already kind of asking you to mention this because from your course a club was created, and so I think that's also one of the best satisfaction for a professor to see how engaged the students can be. But first of all, I will ask you to introduce yourself outside the ship, but also then what was your role on the ship.
Okay, hi. Well, my name is Dr. Kate Transchel, and I am a professor emerita of Russian, Ukrainian, Eastern European history from California State University at Chico. And on the ship, I taught a course in world history, a course in European history, where I focused on imperialism because we were going around Africa and Asia. And then I taught a course on human trafficking, global human trafficking, and that's what you refer to the club. My students in the human trafficking course really got inspired to take action against human trafficking once they started learning about how prevalent it was and uh, how it operated globally, and learning about it. They wanted to educate others, and they wanted to affect some change in the way people thought about human trafficking and about the exploitation of women, children, and workers. And so we started this club, and we had movies on the ship, and we had an information session where the students put together a presentation for the other students, which was a great evening. And then we ended the semester with an awareness event where we walked a mile around the ship. I think it was, now I don't remember, I think it was 5.1 times around deck 9 or something. And at each time we went around the ship, we stopped, and one of the students read a survivor story. They read an interview by somebody who'd been trafficked, and it was really powerful. And I think everybody on the ship who participated or even was aware of it left thinking differently and more deeply about human trafficking, and became more aware. And I haven't heard from any of the students in the class, but my hope is they all seemed really excited to go back home and start a club on their home campuses. And I suspect some of them did do that. So it was really fun and exciting for us.
Yeah. And I think I participated in, I think, most of them, and it was very beautiful to see them so engaged. And I think this is also kind of proof how also you can, activism can also happen in a microcosm like the ship, but then you can bring also all the knowledge back home and do something. So I'm sure some of them are for sure doing something or are committed. So well done, congratulations for this already. I think is a big success for a professor. So for the people that are watching and maybe they don't have any idea what semester at sea, can you tell us what it is and maybe how did you get to know semester at sea?
Okay. Well, so semester at sea is what it says. It's literally a semester on a floating campus, and you have all different kinds of courses, all different kinds of students, all different kinds of faculty and staff, and we all come together in a floating learning community. Um, and it's I call it study abroad on steroids, because typical study abroad programs, and I've taught some of those, you go to one place and you get to know it quite deeply and travel and stuff. But semester at sea, you get 10 countries, 10 ports, And you get to do a really deep dive in between ports on the next port that you're going to. So you're prepared when you get off the ship. So that semester at sea, in my opinion, is life-changing, both for faculty and for students. And I guess the way I would think about it is it turns ordinary students into global citizens. I mean, that's what I observed happening with the students who wanted to take advantage of all the opportunities that study abroad afforded them, is they became more aware of different places in the globe, different peoples in the globe, different foods, different cultures, and then they started to see themselves as part of that as well, rather than just observers. So that's what SAS is to me. It's a semester at sea, but it's ever so much more than that, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And thank you. That was beautifully said. And I think for us as a professor was also very interesting to see most of the students do exactly what you said. So like transform themselves into global citizen, and that was also our mission. So if we accomplish it, that's good. But I think we can really like in some of them, that was my experience. I could really see like till South Africa something was happening, but then after South Africa, where also they pushed themselves even more, they wanted to be more involved, more engaged, import, and so really become global citizen, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great to watch. I mean, of course, some of them never did. Some of them just treated it like, oh, I'm on a cruise ship and oh, I have to do this work. But I think for the most part, even the people who approached it that way, the students who approached it that way, came to understand that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and yeah, and took advantage of the opportunities that were there, and the transformations that I saw in people, in students
Yeah,
especially, but yeah, all of us.
yeah, exactly. Good. And then we came back, and now it's actually a few months. Can you believe it? So, what do you miss the most?
You know, what I miss the most has changed over time. Um, so when I first got home, I think what I missed the most was not having to think about what am I going to eat today. You just go upstairs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and and then what I missed the most was a camaraderie on our voyage, Voyage 134. Um, we had a really, I think, amazing community coalesce. Um, I was a little concerned at first about what it would be like to be on a ship with all these people. And it turned out to be so much, so different than what I had anticipated. we I made lifelong friends. I've I've heard from some of my students, and I believe that I'll be a part of their learning experience, probably for the rest of their professional lives. Um, and so I missed the community. I missed seeing people that I cared about, people that were struggling with things, people that were having amazing experiences for the first time, just all that interaction. And then now, I think what I really miss the most is coming up on deck and watching the world change around me. Unless you do it,
yeah,
you cannot understand what that is.
yeah.
It's transformative just to go up on deck, look out at the ocean, and the question always is, oh, is today the day I see a whale? Is today the day, I mean, and the vastness of the planet and the vastness of the universe comes a little bit more into perspective, and the smallness of one individual little life, you become part of something much bigger. I feel that, and I miss that because in my daily life, I'm the big deal in my life. But on the ship, I was just one little teeny tiny piece, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I think it's amazing, and something we can really relate. And also, yeah, it helped put things in perspective, and it's something that maybe then we're missing. So thank you for sharing this. Going on positive side. Also, this was positive, but maybe tell us one of your favorite memory or one or more of your favorite memories.
Oh gosh. Well, I have so many favorite memories. But I think what stands out for me was uh, South Africa. I teach world history. I teach European history. I know the history of South Africa. South Africa has a very troubled history, and I really didn't want to like South Africa. And the minute I got off the ship, I fell in love with the beauty, with the warmth of the people, with just with the diversity of the biodiversity. It's an amazing place. And like I said, I really didn't want to like it. And I fell in love. The other one of my favorite memories was something that I really didn't anticipate. And when it happened, I was, it was off-putting at first, and then it became really wonderful. When we went to Ghana, it was my first time it being a minority white in an all-black society. I mean, my husband and I went off on our own, and where we were the only white people that we had seen. And it was, it was really interesting to have that flipped. Um, and I had anticipated being treated the way people of color sometimes and immigrants are treated in the United States. But instead, what I found was that people were really excited to see us and, hey, how are you? Welcome. And we're walking down the street in Ghana at one point, and a Uber uh, pulls up beside us and says, you know, why don't you get in? It's too hot for you people to be walking. And he was right. It was way too hot to be walking. But I thought it was a come on and a scam. And I went, no, 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 it's fine. It's fine. And he goes, no, seriously, it's too hot for you to be walking down the street. I know an air conditioned cafe. Get in. And finally we went, okay, how much? And he said, no, 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 no charge. It's just too hot. And so we got in, and he took us to this air conditioned place that we were headed toward anyway. And we got out. I said, how much? He goes, no, no, no. I told you no, no charge. I said, can we tip you? He said, no, it's
Yeah.
too hot for you to be walking down the street. And he drove off. And it that just kind of encapsulated for me the warmth and the welcoming and the receptivity that people had, that I experienced in other countries and other cultures, and in places where people who look like me have done a lot of damage historically. And it was amazing to be greeted and so warmly embraced.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. From also from the interviews, I think that was also the experience of many students that, of course, they have all these like preconceived ideas or like even prejudice sometimes towards like places. And then I think Africa, Ghana, South Africa, Morocco were some of the places that really surprised us or them and us. And because of all the unexpected, all the warm, all the authenticity and the welcoming. And so and it's beautiful because it's also the awareness and the realization, and also like all the questions, as you were saying, that then we are asking ourselves about what we did and how we can deal with the past, and also try something we try to do on the ship to help people to become like citizen, like aware of their actions. So
Yeah, yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
That's great.
Um, then we came back, and one of the reasons also we're doing this is that even if we thought we were prepared, or maybe we prepare ourselves to re-entry, there were challenges, there were like struggles. How was for you? Anything that you want to share about maybe expected or unexpected challenges or struggles that you had?
Yeah, well, there were a lot actually, more than I had anticipated. I'll just start by saying we came back, we got off the ship and we spent a month in Thailand, because we disembarked in Thailand. And so we kind of kept the thing going. So Thailand, Cambodia, woo, it was fun, everything was great. And then we came back to the United States on Inauguration Day. And so we landed in San Francisco. I live in California, and got back to our house, and I was depressed a little bit. On the ship, everything was very exciting, and it was an adventure. Everything was an adventure. Are the toilets going to work today? That was an adventure. Is my toilet going to flush? How long is it going to take for the laundry to get back? I'm out of clothes. All that stuff all of it was exciting and fresh and different, and learning stuff every day, even stuff about myself and other people and all that. And then I get home and it's like, okay, what's for breakfast? I don't even remember what I like eating anymore, being
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
so
yeah.
long. So there was this depression, sort of a letdown from a lot of high. And that coupled with, we spent so much time on the ship learning about other cultures, embracing biodiversity, embracing diversity of all different kinds, and being in a world that is um, very diverse and very interesting, and then having that sort of vilified almost immediately on one level, and on the other level going, yeah, but you don't understand. You don't understand. It's
Mm.
really an amazing world. So that was a struggle. But the thing that I think, another struggle for me, was on the ship. One of the things that we're asked to do, faculty and students, is to push past our comfort zones. And I found the challenges of being on the ship really things that I started looking forward to, like the next challenge, because it opened to aspects of me to me, strengths I didn't know I had, um, ideas I never would have had before. And then I get back home and I very quickly got into my same old routine,
Mm.
and it felt like it felt more boring than usual. If that
Yeah,
makes sense. So I've had to find ways to push myself in other ways. So I've started doing like even more Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit physically, and then I've gone on some really deep meditation retreats to challenge myself in those ways, and then I'm of course planning my next adventure. Um, so those were some of the struggles, and another struggle that I think the students will probably have as well is, I really wanted to tell people about this amazing experience we had, and there's no possible way they could relate to it, none whatsoever. And so I found myself not talking about it except to people that had been on the ship. So like I said, I've made friends with some of the faculty, and they get it.
yeah.
So yeah, so that was some of my struggles too, trying to have some of my friends first share the excitement that I came back with, and then realizing, no, they're never gonna understand it, they're never gonna get it, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We comment with some students that then when they had these kind of friends, they were really a gift because it was very difficult. And the other strategy is kind of course keep in touch with people from SAS because they are the one that did the experience with you, and so they can understand. Thank you so much for sharing. And also, I think it's also interesting for everyone who's watching because some of the challenges are the same between the faculty and the students, and so we were all on the same boat on the same ship.
We're literally in the same boat.
Exactly. So going to our like last question, you already start mentioning something, but any other like resource or strategies that you feel it helped you and maybe it can also help other people?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did was, what I do still is I go back and look at my pictures from the ship. I find that to be really supportive, kind of like, yeah, we really did that, didn't we? And we can do that again. And that's the thing for me is, that I guess the resources are understanding. So through meditation, through working out, but also through validating my own experiences that I had back then in the past, understanding that that was something that I created. I said yes to an opportunity. I can do that again. The next opportunity I can say yes to, and and now I know that I have the courage to do that, right? I've done it. And so a lot of the resources that I found, in addition to, like I said, meditation and working out, but is also self-reflection, a little bit of journaling, and understanding more deeply who I am and what I've learned about me, which gives tremendous courage. And with courage, if you have enough courage, one of the things when I said I would do this interview, they said, "What's one of your favorite quotes?" And one of my favorite quotes is, "Everything you desire is just on the other side of fear." And right now, there's a tremendous amount of fear, and what I discover is, if I when I look at what happened and what we did together, the courage arises, and it makes it easier to walk through the fear, because fear is just fear. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's just a state of mind. And you can just step through it and have the next adventure.
Yeah. Oh, that's I think it's the best conclusion. And thank you so much. You made me emotional, but yeah, I thank you so so much for sharing this. Thank you, Kate, for being with us, and thank you everyone for watching. And see you the next. And I wish you all the best, Kate, and today, and see you for the next episode. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Viviana.